Hello everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hope everyone had a good week. Well, actually, I guess it's been 2 weeks since I've talked with you. So I hope it's been nice for everybody. Last week's dress rehearsal and program went good for the ballet girls. And we had a wonderful time. So let's see if we can get this up and see who we've got live. Come on, Facebook. Work with me. Let's see who we have on. Okay. Hello, hello. Go ahead and say hello. And if you're new to my channel, tell me where you're watching from. And it is Stampin' Up's free shipping day today. So you have a couple more hours, 8, 9, 10, 11, about 3 hours left to take advantage of the free shipping. So, hello Jennifer. I thank you to everybody who has already placed their orders. I really appreciate that. Hello Cynthia. Hope everybody had a nice day today. It's been very, very busy for me. I had the 3 littlest grandchildren, well, plus Caleb for part of the day. Hello, Laura. And then I had to run into McMinnville almost right after Susie picked up the kids to pick up Caleb from swim. Went grocery shopping, came home, got dinner on the table, and here I am. It's been a very, very busy day. I did manage to get the workshop closed so that some ladies could get some free shipping. I, however, have not placed my own personal order yet. So, because I haven't placed my own personal order yet, for anybody who needs to throw something small on to get the free shipping, send me a message or text me before 9:30 because I'm probably not going to get to it before 9:30. I got to get to it before 11, but anyway. All right, so who else has just jumped on here? Oh, Jennifer, thank you for sharing. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started, ladies. Tonight we are using the Splendid Thoughts. Well, it's actually called the Splendid Day Suite, but we'll be using the Splendid Thoughts stamp set and the Splendid Stems dies. These do come in a bundle, and if you order them together, then you save 10%. Plus today, oh, you can't order them today. Sorry, these are a sneak peek. I'm a sneak peeking the mini catalog, which is the July to December mini catalog. So along with these in this suite, you also have this beautiful designer series paper. These are all foiled. You've got fresh freesia. What do they say this all is? Let me find my... Oh, it's not in the cardboard. They didn't put a cardboard backing thing. Calypso Coral, Copper, Fresh Freesia, Petal Pink, Pool Party, Sahara Sand, and Soft Seafoam. Those are the coordinating colors. So you've got Copper, Sahara Sand, Soft Seafoam, Fresh Freesia. And then on the back side, you have non-foiled prints. So if you don't want to use the foiling part, you have all these patterns. All right, so this is a beautiful pack of paper. And these make beautiful cards. So I'm going to do something a little different tonight. We used this Splendid Day suite of products during a Stampin' Up! Event that was for demonstrators this past Saturday. And so I made several cards during that event. Now, I do just want to show you that this... Oh, I'm not supposed to show you the inside. You did not see that. You want to look on page... What was it, 43? Whoops. Page... No. You can find it on page... Let me find it again. Sorry, guys. I shut up my catalog super fast because I wasn't supposed to be showing you, and now I can't find the page. Okay, well, that doesn't help you out very well. Let me stop wasting your time and just know that it is in the upcoming catalog. All right. So I can show you these along with the stamp set and dies in the paper. There is this beautiful soft seafoam ribbon, and this ties really nice and stays really flat when you tie it. So we're going to be using that. And then it also has some open leaf trinkets. And these are our open leaf trinkets. So, hello, Tracy. All right. So we'll go ahead and set that aside, and I'm going to show you some of the card samples that we made during the event. Well, I am, if I know where I put them all. Thought I had them all in this container. Oh my goodness. Oh, here they are. Wrong container. Okay. So this was the first card we made. And this is the envelope that I did up for that. So we used a stamp and blend marker technique for this. You can see the ribbon on this. And then that's how I finished off my inside of my card. Okay, so that was our card number 1. And this was card number 2. And Julie DiMatteo of the Paper Pixie showed us this one. So this uses a lot of the die cuts. And and really only one of the stamp, well, a couple of the stamps here because we stamped and cut that. Okay, and this is the brick and mortar design embossing folder, 3D. And this is how I finished the inside of that one. Okay, with a matching envelope. We didn't do the insides and the envelopes during the okay, good. During the event, I finished those off myself. Okay, and this was card number 3. So this uses several of those foils and a die cut. And then we did some stamping. And then I finished that off like that. And there's my envelope. Okay, so there's 3 of the samples. Now, card 4 actually used the negative pieces from these, and I didn't like card number 4, so I completely revamped card number 4. So let's go ahead and get started. And we are going to make my own version of card number 4, which is not even close to their version. Because crafty girls do what they want. Okay, so we're going to start with a basic white thick card base. Standard A2 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. Okay, so let's go ahead and burnish that. Okay, and then got some scrap pieces here. We're going to do some stamping on this piece of soft sea foam, which is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2, and this really is the only piece that I guess I didn't, there's more than one piece that I kept. This was one piece, and I'm switching up the colors, so I'm using a piece of fresh freesia, and this is 5/8 of an inch by 2. And then I've got a piece of scrap white cardstock so that I can die cut one of these from. Okay. So we're going to die cut that from that scrap. I've got another scrap piece of soft sea foam, and I'm going to do some die cutting from that. And then I've got 3 pieces of the Designer Series paper that are cut at 1 1/4 by 2. Okay. So we're going to use those. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our stamping. We're going to do a little bit of embossing. But first we're going to stamp on our card base. Okay. So from the stamp set, we're going to take this large image. And we're going to use fresh freesia ink. And we're just going to randomly stamp all over our card base, and I am trying not to get the stem, just so it looks a little more random. All right, so there we've got our stamping, and we don't need to worry about the inside because this is going to go over the top. Okay, so we've got that. Then we're going to do a little bit of embossing. So we're going to get our white craft ink. I'm going to take this piece of fresh freesia, and I'm going to grab the sentiment, "Today is a day to remember." And I'm going to ink that up in the craft white. And I'm going to stamp that, try to stamp that in the center of our card. Okay. And I'm going to close that up. And I'm going to grab my embossing powder. Oh, and you know what I forgot to do? I might have to flip this over because I forgot to use the embossing buddy, which is always a good idea. So we'll see how we do. Give that a tap on the side of our tray here. Okay, that looks pretty good. And we don't have a bunch of strays. So let's go ahead and heat emboss this. I have another piece to heat emboss, but with it being so warm in my studio, I don't dare not do them before they dry. So we're just going to heat that until it turns shiny. That looks good. So we've got our sentiment. We can set that aside. And now we're going to take the sea foam, and I'm going to get this little image. That's just a cluster of 4 watercolored leaves. And I'm actually going to use Versamark for this. So we're just going to take and stamp this randomly all over our soft seafoam piece. And there's really no rhyme or reason. Just stamping off the page a little bit. Then we'll grab that embossing powder again. And we'll put it on our piece. And again, I forgot to use my embossing buddy. Oh, silly me. And if you're wondering, we are getting an embossing buddy back in a toolkit in the new catalog that will be released July 1st to customers. Okay, so let's just go ahead and give that a flick. And I got pretty darn lucky today, maybe because it's so hot. Whew! I have my embossing buddy sitting right here too. It's not like I don't have it right in front of my face. See? Oopsies. Okay, let's go ahead and heat emboss this. See if I can get that up there so you can watch it turn. There we go. That white really pops out on the soft sea foam. For it being such a light color. And again, we're just heating it until it turns shiny. And then I'll put it into the light better and see that we got everything. See that I missed a cluster right down here on the edge. Okay, and that looks pretty good. Okay. So now let's grab our die cutting machine. And I think I can run everything through the mini. Well, I know all the pieces will fit through the mini. Just make sure my paper fits through the mini. Okay, let's grab those dies that I set over here. We're going to take the soft seafoam piece and we're going to cut one of these leaves and one of these leaves. Now, you could, and maybe you would want to, it would be a good idea, use the adhesive sheet on the back of your cardstock. Okay. I'm not doing that today because I don't want this to be fully adhered to my piece here. So I'm going to cut those, and wait a minute, while I'm at it, I can cut this one too out of the white. Let's just do it all in one pass because we can, and if we can, then we should. So we'll cut this one out of white, and then we'll just place that on there, and we'll get all our pieces through in one pass. Okay. So these are very delicate pieces. Let's put these away so they don't get lost. And then you'll see, and I'm going to leave these that stayed in. That will give my card a little character. But I am going to pop all of those out, and I'm going to pop these out. And you can see they just cut really nicely. Okay. Sweep those off into the trash. All right, I believe we are ready to begin assembly. So let's put, first we're going to adhere our soft seafoam piece with some Stampin' Seal to our card front. I'm going to add, it's pretty warm, so I'm going to add just a little bit extra to make sure that sticks. Okay, so we're just going to put that down in the center like so. And then I'm going to take those 3 pieces of beautiful foil and I'm going to actually turn them over and use the opposite side. Okay, and I'm going to put these about like that. So I'm going to put this one down first. And again, I'm just using Stampin' Seal. Slide that in there. Then I'm going to put this down. And this one down. Okay. And then I'm going to take my sentiment and I'm going to pop this up with some Stampin' Dimensionals. And I'm down to the bones here. So we're just going to take a nice piece of that. And I'm going to run it a little bit closer to the bottom than I do the top, because I want to be able to tuck a stem in underneath there. Okay. So we're going to put this about here. We're going to get some liquid glue and silicone mat. And before we go any further, we're just going to take this. Actually, let me bring this back in so I don't get all that Wink Castella on my piece. And I'm going to first, I'm going to take this piece and a little bit of fresh freesia ink and my blending brush, and I'm going to give that a gentle swirl. And I mean gentle because it's very delicate and I don't want it to rip. So I'm just going to put a little bit of color on there, and I want more color at the top than I do at the bottom. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now let's get our Wink of Stella. And let's see, I just opened a new one, but let's see how this one is still doing. Oop. And I'm just going to put some Wink of Stella and give that a little bit of glitter. I'm going to do the same with these. Just running my Wink of Stella pen all over. It might be a little bit easier if you did this before you popped it out, but I'm okay with doing it this way. But you might find that it would work easier for you if you Wink of Stella before you pop out the extra pieces. Okay, so there we go. We've got those, and those are ready for our project now. So we'll get rid of our scrap here. And I'm going to start with my fresh freesia piece. And I'm just going to put just, oh, my glue's been stored upside down and it's wanting to really run. So I'm just going to take, and I'm not even squeezing. I'm just running the tip of that. And then I'm going to get my excess off. And I'm going to put this about right here. Okay. And then we'll grab this one. And let's make sure that it's not still running like crazy. Okay, that's more than enough. And we're going to stick this one in here. And it looks like I didn't, I think this one I did just trim this off because I didn't want that much of the stem. I'm going to tuck that in here like so. And finally, we'll grab this piece. And see how I'm leaving those tops empty because I want those to actually have some movement. And then we're going to pop this one down in here like that. Okay. Now, I'm going to finish this off with one of those trinkets. I'm going to take a trinket. And I'm going to, wait a minute, hang on. I had embossing powder right there. Okay, I'm going to take a glue dot. And I'm going to roll this glue dot up with my take your pick tool. And I'm going to set this right here like this. So I'll put my glue dot about right here. And I'm just going to press that into my glue dot. Okay. Like so. And then for a little added security, I'm really going to roll this up into a dot. And I'm going to stick it down in the center of that hole. Like so. And next, we're going to take some ribbon. And we're going to grab our bow jig. And I'm going to tie a double bow. So I'm going to take this and loop it. And that will be enough. Trim that off. And then we're going to slide this through here. Maybe I did, no, this is a pretty tiny bow, so must have done it. Whoops. So we're going to tie this up, pull it through. Make sure it's where we want our center. Pull that taut. And now we'll have the double loops, and I can pull those out from each other so that you can see both loops. Gives me a little bit more substantial bow on that tiny piece. And then I'm going to add this right here. Trim it off. And there is our card front. All right, I hope you liked that card. Now, for the inside, I've taken a piece of basic white, which is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. I blended some soft sea foam ink in the bottom corner here, and then cut another one of each of these two images. Ink blended the fresh freesia on here and added the wink of Stella. The Much Love in Your New Life Together also comes from the Splendid Thoughts stamp set. And then we're going to add this to our inside. And you could stamp right on the white inside piece, but if you've been with me very long, you know I like to add that white piece. And then finally, for the envelope, on the flap, I've taken and stamped that same image that we embossed on the soft sea foam, and I stamped it in soft sea foam, and then I stamped that fresh freesia image that we put on our card, also on the envelope. So now you have a beautiful matching piece of stationery. All right. Okay, so that is card number 1. I hope you're enjoying this look at the suite so far. Okay, let me clean up just a bit. I don't need these for the next project, so I'll get them out of the way. And I need to clean my stamps while you look at that. And I forgot to bring in an extra cleaning thing for that white ink. Okay, so I don't think we need that stamp though, so I think we'll just leave that. Okay, so we've got those. All right, we are, I think, ready to go ahead and get started with the next project. Okay, let's set this to the side. And grab the next bin. Oh, I think I forgot to put the pearls on here. Okay, well let's go ahead and add those pearls because they are sitting right here to be added. So we've got some of the basic white pearl, or the basic pearls here. And we're going to add, just going to add a few of the smaller ones here. 2, and we'll do number 3 down here. Maybe here. Okay, there we go. Now we've got our pearls on there. All right. Now, for the next card, this is the one that I took those pieces. These were like the leftover pieces from that card number 3 that we made. Let me grab that again. That we were actually supposed to use on card number 4. So these are the leftover pieces. And I didn't like how they were going to have us stack them in 4 and then stick a little thing in there. And I just didn't like it. So I decided to not waste my little pieces. And so this card is the one that I came up to use those pieces. Okay. So we've got a card base, and this is one of the upcoming celebration pool party and soft seafoam cards and envelopes. You get 20 cards and 20 envelopes, and they're free with a $50 purchase if you choose this item. And you get 10 of the soft seafoam card bases and 10 of the pool party card bases, and then all of the envelopes are the same, but the envelopes do have decoration in the bottom right corner, on the flap, and then they're lined. Okay, so we're going to use one of those cards and envelopes for this project. So we're going to start with our card base. And we are going to go ahead and fold this. And they do come pre-scored. Okay, so we've got this. We're going to take in a piece of soft seafoam cardstock. And this piece is 2 inches by 5.5, which is the full width of the card, and I've pre-embossed it with the Fern 3D embossing folder which you will find in the Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog for 2022-23. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add this to our card base. And because this is a 3D embossing folder, I'm going to go ahead and use liquid glue. And this is my empty glue. Pretty much empty. It still had a little bit left in it, and I'm going to add this to my card. Okay, now you can center this. You can put it a little below center. You can do it however you would like. Okay, I'm just going to put that on here and even up that side there, and it looks like my piece is just a little bit long. So I'm going to put this card base in the trimmer and line those edges up and snip off that little piece that was sticking out because it was going to bother me. Still looks like I didn't quite get that. Let me fix that again. All right. So we've got that. Now, what am I going to do with these? I'm not going to use them how they had set them up because I did not care for that. So I've taken these three pieces, and I am going to turn these into mats. So I've grabbed 3 pieces of, oh, by the way, these pieces are 1.5 by 2.5. Yep, 1.5, 2.5. So I've got 3 pieces of 3 different patterns. And then I've got 3 pieces of basic white cardstock that are cut at 1.25 by 2.25. Okay. And with that, I have taken that same image that we used on the other card, and I've already pre-stamped 2 of those. So I'm going to stamp this one in Memento Tuxedo Black, and I don't need to worry about inking up the stem because I'm not using the stem. And then I'm just going to stamp this down like so. Okay. All right, so now we've got 3 of those. Now we need to color these in. And I saw a new technique the other day. And I'm going to use my colored pencils. Okay. So I am using Rich Razzleberry, Flirty Flamingo, and Old Olive. And this encompasses both Assortment 1 and Assortment 2. Rich Razzleberry and Old Olive, I believe, are from Assortment 1, and Flirty Flamingo from Assortment 2. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to color these in. And I'm going to just go in small circles and color them. They don't need to be perfect, but I do want to maintain the smaller circles. Okay, and I'm going to coloring that very lightly. I'm not pressing very hard at all because I want to give the illusion that by the time I finish, this is actually soft seafoam, even though it isn't soft seafoam. By the time I get it on the soft sea foam, it will look like it coordinates very well. Okay, now the normal technique that you've all seen is to take the blender pen and go back over that. But I'm going to take my color lifter Stampin' Blend and I'm going to color this in. It does not do exactly the same thing that the regular blender pen does, but it does smooth out your coloring because it does have that liquid in it. The advantage I found to doing it this way is that with normal basic white cardstock, you have to worry about the blender pen pilling your paper, and I do not have to do that with this. And again, when you're done, just clean your tip. Okay? So now you can see that I've taken that coloring and smoothed it out. Okay, so we'll do that, and I'm going to repeat that again with the Flirty Flamingo. And again, my color is actually Petal Pink that I'm trying to get here. So I'm going to color really lightly so that I get a real soft pink. And no, it isn't going to look exactly Petal Pink, but it is going to coordinate with our color selection. Okay, so again, I'm going to go back and I'm going to smooth out that color. And I want to show you now, I don't know if you can see for sure, but these are the three that I've done with the color blender, and these ones I haven't touched. You can still see the pencil marks with these. You want to try and stay away from the black ink as best you can, simply because if you go over the black too much with this, as you even if you did with your blender pen, then it tends to let that black ink bleed out. Okay, so we've got two of those done. And now with our third one, we're going to use Rich Razzleberry. And we're trying to get Rich Razzleberry to look a little bit Fresh Freesia. So again, I'm barely touching my colored pencil to my cardstock. And I'm working in those circular motions because I don't want a lot of pencil streaks. It's easier for the color blender to smooth it out if you don't have large color streaks. Pencil marks. Okay. So one more time. Okay, and I really want you to see the difference between this petal and this petal. And I'm hoping that you can see that. And then we'll just keep coloring until we have all of these petals done. And as you can tell, this process does not take very long, but this is another way that you can use your watercolor pencils with a different application and still get wonderful coloring results. Okay? All right, so that is that. Now we need to, out of this extra piece, we need to stamp some bees. And the bee comes in the stamp set. So we're going to stamp those in basic black, and you'll need 3 of them. And there is a die for these. Okay. And again, we're going to take our colored pencil. I'm taking crushed curry this time. This is out of assortment 2, I believe. And I'm just going to color the bodies. Okay, now this is a small enough area that you don't even really need to blend that if you don't want to. But it does make the tiniest bit of difference. That's what those look like. And then we're going to take the Wink Estella pen and color those leaves so that they look translucent. And then we'll put those on the mini cut and emboss with the die and run it through. But I've already done that for you because there's only one bumblebee die and I didn't want you to sit here and watch me cut out all 3. So I've already cut those out. And they're here waiting for us. Okay. Now, with another scrap piece of white, I'm going to take and stamp the word hello you, and that is coming from Shaded Summer. I'm using this. This is in the annual catalog and has a coordinating die set to go along with it, and it's called the Summer Shadow Dies. These are in the back of the catalog as a standalone item, but they do coordinate with the Shaded Summer. Okay, so we've got that, and I'm going to use that Hello You, which I've got right here. And we're going to stamp this out. Okay. And then we're going to take from the All That Dies. This is in the annual catalog. You can buy it in a bundle with the He's the Man suite. And we're going to cut that out using that die, and we're going to put it off to the left. Okay? Now I've already done that to save a little bit of time as well. So I think we are ready to start assembling our card now. Okay, so let's take these pieces first. And what I did with these, I'm just going to grab my silicone mat again. And I'm going to pick these up. And I'm going to grab my eucalyptus stamped pieces, and I'm going to run a little bit of Stampin' Seal at the top and the bottom of each one. And if your Stampin' Seal gets stuck, just run it on your silicone mat and it will get moving again. Okay, so I've done that. Now I'm going to take these And I am going to add these to my pieces here. And center them up as best I can. Got some glue on here sticking to my fingers. Let me rub that off. That's all you have to do with your silicone mat when you get the glue on it, is just take your finger and rub it off and get it out of your way. Okay, so we're going to put that down. Give it a press, and I'm doing this on my silicone mat because I do have the hole in the center of my foil piece, so this way it won't stick to my table. And we'll just add all 3 of these to these small pieces of foil. Okay, and now we've got that. These are ready to add to our card base. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to add some liquid glue to what I've already got down there, and these are not going to fit all the way to the top and the bottom, so I want to make sure that I don't put any adhesive below that 1/4 inch, top and bottom. I want to leave that, so I'm going to leave this about right here like so. And then I'm going to center, I'm going to go to the right side. And I'm going to add this one about the same distance from the edge. Try and get the tops and the bottoms even. And I'm going to give that a press. And then I'm going to center in this 3rd piece in the middle. Okay. Center that just like so. Okay. Almost done here. And we're going to take our sentiment. Okay, and I'm going to take my soft seafoam ink and my blending brush. Oh, where's my brain? I was like, where did I put my ink? I'm just going to give that a tap, and then I'm just going to go along the very edge with my blending brush. I'm not trying to get a bunch of ink on here. I just want a little bit of color on the edge to help that stand out from the basic white. In the center, it's a very subtle, this looks like it's got a little bit of adhesive on it, so from my Post-it tape, let me scrape that off with my adhesive square. Okay, then I'm going to take this and I'm going to pop this up with some Stampin' Dimensionals. Oh yeah, and I'm down to my bones over here. So we are going to take a look at how we're going to put this on here, and I'm going to avoid putting anything right on this edge. Okay. And we'll add this. I think this should work. Right across the center here. We're going to pop that up. About right here. And then I'm going to take those bumblebees and I'm going to add a double stack of glue dots to each one. And I'm just going to stick it right in the center. Double stack that. And we'll add this one up here. Double stack this. This one we're going to add to our sentiment strip. About like this. And then finally we're going to add our third bee to the third panel. Double stacked, and we're going to put it about right there. Okay, now we have our bees on, and the finishing touch for this card is to add another one of those double bows. But this time I'm going to make my bow just a little bit bigger. If I can find what I did with my ribbon. Okay. I'm going to double bow that. Trim off that end. Tie this. Separate those loops. And then this is going to go right here like that. So we're going to take a couple of glue dots. And I'm going to place one here. And another one here. And then I'm going to press that down actually between the two panels, the right or the left and the center panel, making sure that my bow doesn't cover my sentiment. Okay. And then I'm going to just trim those ends off like that. And that is how I used up those pieces from card number 3 that we made during Creativity Now. All right. So then for this, then we already have a pre-made envelope that we don't need to do anything with. And for the inside, what I've done is I have cut a piece of the foil at 1/2 inch, and I'm going to run this along the bottom. So again, I'm going to grab that silicone mat and my strip. I'm not going to go all the way to the end because I don't need the whole strip. And I'm just going to line that up on the edge. Secure that down. Trim it off. And now our card is complete. I'm leaving the inside sentiment out of this card so that I can either just write a message, or if whatever I decide to use it for later, I can add the inside sentiment then. So there we are. Okay. So there are our Splendid Day cards. I hope you enjoyed those this evening. Let me bring back the cards that we made tonight, as well as our card samples, so that you will have all that inspiration. For this whole suite of products that you will find in the January to December 2022 mini catalog. All right. Hope you can see all of those. Let me move them over just a tad. All right. There it is. All together. Hope you enjoyed those. Thank you for joining me. I will be back again next Tuesday night at 7:45 for another Tuesday Night Live. Oh, thank you guys for the hearts. I appreciate that. Thanks. Yeah, Laura, I didn't want to waste any of that foil. It's just too pretty. All right. Remember, if you have anything to add to an order, get an order to me by 9:30 and I will add it to my personal order, and you will still get your free shipping. And good night. Be safe, be happy, and happy stamping. Good night, everybody.